Koh-i-noor. It means mountain of light, but anyone who owned it invited darkness into their lives. And yet, over the centuries, empires have clashed over it. Kings marched armies across continents to possess it. And ordinary folk, they coveted just a glimpse of it. It passed from king to king, not through inheritance, but through conquest. It moved between dynasties as part of ransoms and forced emperors into peace treaties. Those who believed they had finally secured it soon lost their thrones, their kingdoms, or even worse, their lives. Today, the Kohinoor rests inside the British crown, but no British king has ever dared to wear it. Only queens are said to be immune from the diamond's curse. This is the story of the most famous diamond in the world. This is the story of the Kohinoor. By the time the Kohinoor reached Britain, it already carried the ruins of multiple empires behind it. The British got the Kohinoor as war loot after their victory against the Sikh Empire in 1849. The British forced the 10-year-old king into signing a treaty that specifically included the handover of the diamond. The Kohinoor was presented to Queen Victoria and later passed from crown to crown, worn always by queens: Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and Queen Elizabeth, but never by a king. The British were well aware of the diamond's violent past, and perhaps of the Hindu warning that followed it. He who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know all its misfortunes. Only God or a woman can wear it with impunity. And that warning has proved itself right ever since the diamond was discovered. The exact origin of the Kohinoor is not documented, but based on historical accounts and geological testing, it most likely originated in the Golconda region in southern India, an area famous for producing large diamonds of extraordinary brilliance. Before the 1700s, India was the world's only known source of diamonds, and its stones were coveted all over. The Golconda diamonds stood apart for their size and crystal clarity, and at the time of discovery, sometime in the early 1300s, the uncut Kohinoor was estimated to be a whopping 793 carats. The then ruling Kakatiya dynasty became the first owners of the Kohinoor, but after just a few years of possessing the Kohinoor, they were overthrown by the raiding army of Alauddin Khilji in 1310. The wealth gained by the raiders is said to be more than the minds of the wise could apprehend. And as per Amir Khusro, a renowned poet in Khilji's court, one of the surrendered precious stones was unrivaled in the world. The wise philosophers of the time refused to believe that such a substance could even exist. The 18th century Mughal historians later identified this precious stone as the famous Kohinoor diamond. And so, Kohinoor was now in possession of Khilji. But little did he know that he would soon have the same fate as the previous owners of the cursed diamond. Alauddin Khilji was a ruler known for aggressive expansion and absolute control. Yet just 6 years after acquiring the Kohinoor in 1316, Khilji was assassinated, killed by the very general who had brought the diamond to him, Malik Kafur. Kafur then took control of the Kohinoor along with the empire, but his reign lasted barely a month before he too was killed. The Khilji dynasty, which had defeated Mongols and ruled all of northern and western India, collapsed just within 4 years. After the collapse of Khiljis, power continued to change hands rapidly in Delhi. Each ruler that acquired Kohinoor through conquest met the same fate as others. The Tughlaq dynasty that followed Khilji rule produced 9 kings in just 75 years of rule and collapsed. The Sayyid dynasty came next, ruling for barely 3 decades, under 4 kings, before losing the empire. The Kohinoor watched rulers and dynasties collapse one after another, while their desire for it only grew. The Lodi dynasty came next, only to meet the same fate, falling violently on the battlefield to a new conqueror, Babur, founder of the Mughal Empire. Babur took possession of the Kohinoor as a symbol of victory, but the empire he established didn't last long either. His son and successor, Humayun, was defeated and driven into exile by Sher Shah Suri in 1540. Humayun took the diamond with him as he escaped west to Persia, and for the very first time, Koh-i-noor left India. Humayun offered Koh-i-noor to the Shah of the Safavid dynasty in Persia in exchange for men and supplies to reclaim his lost empire. And so, the Koh-i-noor found a new home, Persia. While Humayun regained his throne in 1555 and went on to build one of the largest and wealthiest empires the world had ever seen, the Safavid dynasty that now hosted the Koh-i-noor started its journey towards their end. 3 generations later, under the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, the Mughal Empire was in its golden age, and the Koh-i-noor was back in India, embedded into the peacock throne, an object of such extravagance that it reportedly cost nearly 3 times that of the Taj Mahal. How the Koh-i-noor reached India from Persia is not certain, but most likely the Shia Muslim king in Persia passed it on to one of the prominent Shia rulers in India for their support against the growing threat of the Sunni Ottoman Empire. And from there, it went to the Mughals, who were the de facto rulers of India at the time. The Koh-i-noor's return to the Mughal court marked the beginning of Shah Jahan's decline. His sons turned against one another, and he was imprisoned by his own son, spending his final years in captivity. One of his sons, Aurangzeb, took over the empire and would become the last Mughal emperor to actually hold power in India. Nader Shah, the new ruler of Persia, invaded India in 1739, dismantling Mughal authority and carrying the Koh-i-noor, along with other jewels and loot, back to Persia. It is said that it took 700 elephants, 4,000 camels, and 12,000 horses to carry the loot from India into Persia. However, soon, Nader Shah would find out that no amount of wealth could save him from the curse of the Koh-i-noor. Just a few years later, in 1747, Nader Shah was assassinated, and his empire collapsed soon after. The diamond passed to one of his trusted generals, Ahmad Shah Durrani, founder of the Durrani dynasty of Afghanistan. But after the death of Ahmad Shah in 1772, the Durrani Empire's decline started, driven by violent power struggles within the family. This period of unrest saw 11 kings over 70 years. The Koh-i-noor was passed down within his family, until it finally landed with his grandson, Shuja Shah Durrani, in 1813. Shuja Shah, who had recently been deposed, gave the Koh-i-noor to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, founder of the Sikh Empire in India. In return for refuge and protection, the Koh-i-noor once again left foreign lands and returned to its homeland, India. Ranjit Singh was extremely fond of the diamond. He asked the principal jewelers of the empire to estimate the diamond's value, and the jewelers declared that it was far beyond all computation. Ranjit Singh then affixed the diamond to the front of his turban and also wore it as an armlet during major festivals. He would exhibit it to prominent visitors, especially British officers, who grew keen to get hold of the Koh-i-noor themselves. And just like the other empires that had collapsed earlier, after gaining possession of the Koh-i-noor, the Sikh Empire also began its decline. After Ranjit Singh's death in 1839, the empire's throne passed between 4 different rulers over 4 years. At the end of this violent period, the only one left in line for the throne was a 5-year-old boy, Duleep Singh. And in 1849, after imprisoning his mother, the British forced Duleep Singh to sign a legal document, the Final Treaty of Lahore, that required him to give away the Koh-i-noor and all claim to sovereignty, thus marking the end of the Sikh Empire. The Koh-i-noor was officially ceded to Queen Victoria, and today it sits in the Tower of London as one of the jewels in the British crown. The Koh-i-noor has never stayed with power for long. It has watched empires rise and fall, always leaving behind collapse and destruction. And perhaps only the Koh-i-noor knows who it will claim next. What do you think? Is the Koh-i-noor's curse real? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such stories from our past. As always, thanks for watching.